All right, so I do want to get back to the way our physical minds work. And that is...
Why?
Because I like it. Because I like knowing it and understanding it better. It's that we've been taught some things about our mind that I don't think really hold true. We've been taught that our right hemisphere is the one that deals with imagination and visualization, that it doesn't speak to us, that it doesn't use words. I believe it does use words.
We believe it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But only in this sense. In other words,
all right.
You see what you're talking about, and since you're a teacher, we're speaking to you as we teach. So in some ways, you might be distracting your students from things that have been bothering them and getting them to focus upon things that they can't understand, and so there's less resistance within it. In other words, it's sort of the other end of the simplicity of beating the drum, because none of you can get inside your mind and understand even whether there are different hemispheres or what the hemispheres do. We want you to understand that you were born with a guidance system that tells you everything that you need to know, and that a lot of this, while it might be interesting and we're not distracting you from anything, because genius is just attention to a subject, but if you're wanting to help a lot of people understand their creative ability, you don't want to make it so complicated about things that they really cannot show themselves. Is there a practical application of that knowledge?
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, so if you realize that you're in a negative state, then you realize that your mind and you are creating negative frequencies, and that these frequencies have no recourse but to bring you more of that negativity.
Well stated. Law of attraction.
Right. Yes, it's known as law of attraction, or like attracts like.
Yes.
So it is not that difficult for you to change your station and flip it over to where you're going to be drawing in more of the positive outlook, the hopefulness, the optimism.
So what you're saying is that, let's say that someone has found themselves on the ornery disc.
Right.
And they know they are because they feel uncomfortable, and things that represent their uncomfortable emotion are demonstrating in their experience. So they are consciously aware that they want to do something different. Yes. So you are saying to them that your mind is really two parts, and you're on the ornery side of the brain, and that if you would just flip that switch, that the momentum that you've attracted this way will be different the other way?
Yes.
And is it?
I believe it is.
Then you have a wonderful process. If you can flip a switch like that, that's a wonderful process.
Well, it's not always easy to flip that switch. We know that.
Because of momentum.
Yes, it's not easy, but but you want to flip that switch. That's your first thing, is that, okay, I need to get out of this. Get out of the bag. I'm in the bag of my own negativity from my past. I want out. So I need to find a different topic to think about and just let go of that.
We understand your theory.
Okay. But you don't think that it's a good way to approach this, to tell people?
We think anything that works for you is something wonderful to do. The idea of momentum, if you've been focused with your mind, whether it has 2 parts or 20, if you've been focused with your mind and you have accomplished through your focus a vibrational frequency that therefore is attracting other thoughts to that mind,
right,
then distraction from that thought is a good remedy. Right. Anything that you can do to distract yourself from that thought is a good remedy, because anything that slows the momentum is a good remedy. Okay. And what we've been teaching recently is that with all of the processes that we are offering, and we heard another one today and now another, with all of these processes that you are finding that are effective in different ways at different times for different people, with all of these processes, the thing that we are seeing that is a practical application for more people than we've ever noticed before is to pay attention to momentum, period, and before it really gets rolling, set it in the direction that you mean to. So set the course of what law of attraction is going to respond to as early in the day as you can. And then as you find the thought that feels better, another thought like it will join it, another thought like it will join it, another thought like it will join it, another thought like it will join it. We are appreciating what you're offering here, but we want to say that we are trying to simplify rather than complicate. We are trying to get you to focus more about the emotion and less about the thought. We want you to focus more on the way you feel and less about the outcome. And so we are moving from the tangible into the vibration rather than from the vibration into the tangible. And this conversation is sort of taking it a little bit to a place that we have moved from.
Okay, but a lot of people aren't here. And so I kind of think that this is kind of like a precursor sometimes.
You do not have to convince us.
Okay.
If you have something that's working for you and working for others, then of course continue to do it.
Okay.
There isn't any reason not to do it. You're asking us from the standpoint of where we are with the things that we are offering to people, and that is moving backwards, not forward in the understanding of the mind. That's all.
Okay. No, I think understanding it in a way that because our ego wants to have a hold of things, it wants to see things, it wants to know that there's proof behind this. And so by offering this, the way that the mind produces frequencies, is actually a kind of like something people can actually visualize a little bit better and see better.
Excellent.
Okay, you want me off this subject. Okay. Another thing that I've done.
We put you in a position of efforting for it.
Okay.
You see. And so as you're efforting for it, we're getting nowhere. It's like a sort of tug of war.
Okay.
So did the introduction of the two parts of the mind simplify it for you or complicate it for you?
It does? All right. Okay, I'll have to revamp by Thursday.
Here's what we would say.
Yes,
we would
please.
say, so here you are, a focusing being, and you have this magnificent body and this magnificent focusing mechanism. And this focusing mechanism serves you in so many ways. Your physical apparatus is accomplishing so many things, we couldn't even begin to define it. No one really understands what's going on in the physical body. It is that magnificent. It is a product of evolution and inspiration. It has been divinely inspired, and we stand at this place of culmination that is truly a wonderful thing. And we are all focusing here in these physical bodies, and this magnificent brain or mind is the way we focus. The reason that we stand as deliberate creators of our own experience, or at least as creators of our own experience, is because we are vibrational beings who live in a vibrational universe. And the way that we come to understand vibration is by understanding focus. And focus is all about what we're thinking about. It's all about what we're speaking. And the way we understand all of that is by what we're feeling. So we're all rather complicated beings, and we're all living in worlds, different people walking down the same street having different experiences. So it gets me to thinking, you can say, that there must be something that is understandable about why people can live in same environments or even be born in same families and have such different life experiences. And it makes me realize that we are all individually powerful, that we are all individually creators of our own experience. And so I like exploring the mind and thinking about that. I've come to understand, you can say to them, that as we focus, we offer a vibration that is answered by law of attraction. Now that's a big bite for people to take in the beginning. If they're not ready to understand vibration, we get what you're talking about. Yes. But we would just say, I've come to understand that the way I feel is a really good indicator of what I've been creating. That if I can get a handle on the emotion that I'm chronically feeling and make a logical matchup or association between what I've been feeling and then what comes to me, it's really useful information. It's not as useful after the fact, oh, now I knew why that went that way, as it is beforehand, but it takes some of all of that. So I've been practicing for a while, paying attention to the thoughts that I'm thinking and how they feel and how they play out. And I've just come to show myself that not only am I the creator of my own experience, because I think and therefore I vibrate and therefore I attract, but I can be the deliberate creator of my own experience. So then I had to try to figure out, how do I know when I'm on the right track? These people say go this way. These people say go this way. My mother said this. My father said this. I was sort of lost in the possibilities of what I could do. And I've been looking for some sort of guidance, something that would help me understand that I'm on the right track. And I came across an understanding, and I've proven it to myself. I've come to understand that there is a source within me who is really rooting for me, who has my back. And when I think thoughts that are in alignment with what source feels about me or what source feels about anything, I can feel the power of that energy flowing through me. I can feel a leverage that I didn't know that I had, a leverage that I've been squandering much of my life because I've been depriving myself of it, because I've been lackadaisical in my thought or focused in ways that were not beneficial to me or maybe even to others. So I came to realize that I come from source energy, and that source energy is still offering a very strong vibrational current. And when I stumble on or deliberately focus upon a match up to that current, I can feel it coming into place. It's just like plugging in to that high-powered electricity, and I can feel this energy flowing through me, and there's a feeling of clarity and well-being and love that is almost indefinable. It's just something that I feel, and I know, I recognize it. I know when I'm doing it. I've come to know when I'm not doing it. And so I just came to recognize that I like clarity way more than confusion. And I like happy way more than sad. And I like a feeling of love way more than a feeling of disdain. I like appreciating. I like optimism more than pessimism. And so I just started paying attention to the way I feel, and I began to discover that I can control the way I feel by focusing my thoughts, because the source within me, I've shown myself, is always in a place of pure positive energy, love, and power. So I don't really know how I do it, because my mind is an amazing thing. It keeps my blood pumping all night long, and I don't know how that happens either. I breathe all through the night, and I don't even know how that happens. I don't understand the mechanics of my physical body. I don't know how my brain works, but I have discovered that there is an association between what I'm doing with my thoughts and how I'm feeling and what's turning up in my life experience that has put me in a place of true empowerment. And so that's what I'm doing. I've come to care about how I feel more than all other things put together. And when I find a thought that doesn't feel good, I just do whatever I can do to distance myself from it. But then I discovered I can't not think a thought, because when I say I'm not going to think about that, I'm thinking about that thing that I'm not going to think about. And no matter how I slice and dice it, I'm still thinking about that thing I'm not going to think about. And it seems like the more I think about that thing that I'm not going to think about, the more momentum it gets. It's sort of like giving up smoking. The more I decide I'm not going to smoke, the more I want to smoke. The more I'm going to give up sugar, the more I want to eat sugar. It's sort of like there's this thing that keeps coming to me and coming to me. So through trial and error, through paying attention, through thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling, I have come to understand that there is a guidance system within me that helps me know. And the more sensitive I am to it, so the earlier I catch it, then the easier it goes. So I just care about the way I feel. And when I find myself on a thought that doesn't feel good, I just say, I can say it better, and I try to say it better to make it feel better. And sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't. But I've discovered that if I do it first thing in the morning, I can say it better every time. And if I can get that momentum off where it feels good, I have discovered that I can get in lockstep with source, and that source energy will walk through the day with me all day, every day, giving me insight and clarity about everything I'm thinking about, everyone I'm talking with. I find myself inspired to the right words at the right time. Everything in my world is better now that I am no longer walking around by myself, but walking in vibrational harmony with source, with the guidance that comes forth from within me. I think I good. You're saying to them, I think our physical bodies are amazing. And there are all kinds of different ways that we can approach this. But what it comes down to is that I can think about what I choose to think about once I practice choosing what I choose to think about. And the more I choose it, the easier it is for me to do it. And how do I know which thoughts are productive for me and which thoughts aren't? If they're productive, they feel fabulous when I think them. And if they're not productive for me, they don't feel good when I think them. And that's the distinction I'm looking for all day, every day. And it gets so easy to find it. I'm refining my thoughts so much. And when I get on a track that feels good and I stay there long enough to allow law of attraction to bring momentum to it, the details, the precision, the delight that this universe has to offer me, not just the trip of a lifetime, or not just the relationship I've been looking for, or not finally I'm living in my dream home. It's that all day, every moment is as full as it can possibly be of all that surprises and delights me.